Mind and Body Monday on the Chalut Show, and I've got the president of Fit Organics in studio, Miss Julie Lieff. Hi, gorgeous. How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. I can't even begin to tell you.
Well, listen, today we're going to tackle salt.
Yep.
Salt makes you bloated.
Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of misconceptions about salt. It's not really so much salt that makes you bloated as an abundance of salt with not enough potassium. So let me explain a few things. Salt is essential in our bodies, and normally our kidneys control the level of salt. So if your intake is too high and your kidneys can't keep up, it ends up in your bloodstream. Okay? Now, when salt is in your bloodstream, salt attracts water. So by virtue of basically more fluid in the pipe, your blood pressure can have a tendency to elevate. Now,
So salt is bad for your heart.
you know what? Salt, they're finding out now, is not actually bad for your heart. What is bad for your heart is high blood pressure. Sometimes salt can lead to high blood pressure, and I'll explain another reason why. Salt itself is not so much the enemy. So it's the type of salt that is bad for us. So when you have the powdered table salt that you buy in the box, that's like eating refined sugar. It's kind of like sugar. You know, fruit sugar, not so bad. It's in a natural form. White sugar that comes in powder form is obviously bad for us. So the best types of salt then that have a lot of other micronutrients too and a lot of other electrolytes are your pink Himalayan salt and your natural sea salt and any of the more natural unrefined salts. Now here's the thing about salt which led everybody to believe it was bad for us. When we eat salty food, okay, most of the time it's refined food.
And when you say refined, what do you mean?
I mean stuff in boxes, stuff in packages,
Okay.
stuff that's fried a lot of the time, anything processed, cheeses, all that stuff. Usually when we go, oh, I ate so much salt on the weekend, I feel like crap, I'm bloated. Usually it was pizza, usually it was burgers, usually it was fries, usually it was, the really crappy crackers, packaged food, okay? So when we eat salt from those packaged foods, 9 times out of 10, there's saturated fat. 9 times out of 10, there's trans fats. There are so many other harmful things in that packaged food that for a long time they thought it was salt that was causing all the issues when it was really all of the fat and additives and extra calories in those foods.
The chemicals.
The chemicals, totally.
So ultimately, salt isn't bad for you per se.
Let me get there.
Okay, when we get back, we're going to get back, Julie. When we get back, we are talking salt and if it's good for you or if it's not good for you. Julie Lieff, Fit Organics. Check her out online at
www.fitorganics.com.
We'll be back with more salt. One Direction on the Pride of Toronto, 103.9 Proud FM. If you're just joining us, we are trying to get down to the nitty-gritty of salt and if it's good for us in our diets. And I got Miss Julie Lieff from Fit Organics breaking it down for us. The salt what?
Conundrum.
The salt
Ooh, I
conundrum.
like that, Jules.
Ooh, that word would not come out of my mouth.
Not mine either.
No threat to Mensa in this room.
Okay then.
No threat to Mensa.
So is salt good for us?
Salt is not just good for us, it's actually essential for all of our cellular functions. However, salt has to be taken with a grain of salt. Just kidding. Salt has to be paired with potassium. Okay, so in those processed foods that we talked about last segment, there's usually lots and lots of sodium and not a lot of potassium. So where do we get potassium? Well, it just so happens, back to nature, that in a lot of naturally high sodium foods that are whole foods, unprocessed, picked from the ground, or born from animals, they're very high in potassium too. So the bottom line is if you're very well hydrated, forgot to mention hydration last segment, very important. If you're hydrated properly, you have lots of potassium, lots of whole foods, and you want to add some natural sea salt to your meals, then it's no problem at all. And in fact, like I said, there are problems associated with very low sodium diets. They're finding more and more that it's the refinements of salt that makes the salt bad for us, and how normally diets high in salt are processed diets. So if you're eating whole foods, again, high in potassium, lots of water, add a bit of salt to your food. It's not the worst thing for you.
Salt is good.
Salt is good.
Salt is
And
good.
it's tasty.
Yeah.
Just make sure to
It's
drink lots of
delicious.
water and make sure your salt is coming from whole food sources. Really, it always goes back to whole foods, unprocessed stuff, the stuff that's on the outside of the grocery store, your vegetables, your eggs, your meats, that kind of stuff, rather than what's on the aisles and comes out of crinkly packages and paper boxes.
Fit Organics, I've had it delivered to my house for the last 4 months almost. I have lost 22 pounds because of Julie Lieff and Fit Organics. You can too if you want some healthy food choices. All you have to do is check Julie out online at
www.fitorganics.com. You can follow our Twitter handle as well at Fit Organics with an X. And you can like us on Facebook. Same thing, Fit Organics with an X. Congratulations on your weight loss, Mike. You worked really hard and you look just gorgeous. Love your guts.
Love Your Guts,
Inside
girl.
and out.
Yum. Rawr.